today's video, I just want to share with you what I thought were the best cities. So I searched relentlessly to find out what city should I stay overnight and where are those landmarks that I need to make sure I see during my Camino. It's very individualized, and what I think might be the best stages may not be what you think are the best stages. And I think that's why no one did videos on them, because they realize it is subjective. And although I too realize it is subjective, I wanted to know that information, even if it was just someone else's opinion. So that's what I'm going to cover in today's video. First thing to keep in mind, everybody has different likes and dislikes. My particular interest was knowing where the landmarks were that everyone wants to see. What cities did I want to stay in? Because let's start with the very beginning with just St. John Pied Port. I love that little town. It's a really cool little town. It's just nice to visit, walk around the little shops. Walk around the little town. It's just a really cute town. They have some great restaurants there. So I really liked St. John Pied Port. And then the first day of actually starting the Camino, I really liked Orison. Like Orison, some people don't stop in Orison. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do. There were a lot of people on the Camino who wish they had stayed in Orison, but those rooms get booked quickly, and I didn't see a single person who felt like, oh, we only did 7 kilometers today, so I wish I had gone farther. No, because that is a hike getting up to Orison. So I highly, highly, highly encourage stop in Orison, because when I tell you that is God's country, like when you're walking through the Pyrenees, it is the most beautiful sight I've ever seen. And I've seen some amazing land out there all around the world. But the Pyrenees, it's something special about it. It's the tranquility of it. It's just a beautiful thing. So when we all got to Orison, we were exhausted. It was raining that day. It was misty that day. But it was a beautiful site when we got there, and you get to sit outside on the patio area and just look at this beautiful land until dinner time. So that was well worth it, just to really sit and absorb that and really appreciate that land and what you had accomplished that day, and the fact that you had just started probably one of the biggest endeavors you will ever take on in your life. So I really liked that I stayed over in St. John Pied Port, and then Orison was the next city. So after that, my favorite city was Pamplona. You can't not enjoy Pamplona. It's the first city you get to that has like stores where you can really buy stuff. I mean, they have stores, of course, in St. John Pied Port, but not the bigger stores that you'll find in Pamplona. So you can buy backpacks if you need them, or day packs, or and some of that stuff you can get in St. John Pied Port. But it was really nice. It's a city in Pamplona, so you can go to the cafe where Ernest Hemingway used to sit and write. It was gorgeous. It was a beautiful cafe. It was great to be there. We had a major thunderstorm the day that we were there, so we spent 2 nights there, and we took a tour of the place where they do the bull rides, which I highly recommend. That was a pretty interesting tour. We got massages, so definitely when you're coming into Pamplona, you'll see this massage place on the right hand side. Definitely try and stop in there and get a reservation, because those will go quickly. And we did quite a bit of shopping in Pamplona for little things that we may have left behind, like the headlamps. So there's a decathlon store and then there's a different store. So highly recommend Pamplona as a place to stay. They also had a Michelin star restaurant that we really enjoyed. It had like really, really tasty. It's really popular. I also like Lagrona, staying in Lagrona overnight. I enjoyed Burgos. And one of my most favorite little towns was Najiro. And maybe you don't pronounce the J, maybe it's Nahiro, but I really enjoyed Nahiro. It was just a cute little town. It has this little river running through it and you can sit in this park. So I just spent the day in the park. They have all these restaurants and shops. It was just, I just thought it was a really cute town. I just loved it. I loved the bridge. I loved sitting outside on the patio with all these restaurants that they have. And they actually had a live band there the night that we were there. So we got to enjoy the band. It was just a cute little town. It was way up there on my list of favorite towns. That was on the Camino for sure. Lyon was a nice little city to visit. However, I have to say that hiking into and out of Lyon, especially hiking out of Lyon, was definitely my least favorite part of the Camino. Then there's Astorga. I really liked Astorga. They have nice little shops, nice restaurants. For me, it was all about having something to do in the evening. Like, I didn't like it when I got to little towns or villages that had absolutely nothing to do in the evening. So I preferred staying in some of the larger towns because there's a variety of options to do and see, versus when you go to these little small villages, there may be absolutely nothing to do but sit in your room, wash your clothes. But that's why for me, I recommend staying more on stage. It is true that you can find a room off stage if in fact you don't find a room, but I always try to book ahead. So I also liked Sarria. Sarria is a cute little town. They have a lot of variety as far as restaurants and shops as well. They have a store where you can pretty much buy anything you need for the Camino, because a lot of people, as you know, start their Camino in Sarria because that's like the last 100 kilometers that's required to get the Compostela. So Sarria was definitely a cute little town and I enjoyed staying. And then the last town, which is Santiago de Compostela, I really liked the town itself. I did not care for the hike into the town. And I think it was because it's your last hike and you want it to be something grand or something special. And it was special from the perspective of like the realization that this is your very last stretch of the Camino. But it was underwhelming as far as, for the most part, as far as what your views were. Because, you know, some of it was industrial. It was exciting from the perspective of, oh my God, this is it. Like, we really did this and we're walking in, and it was very exciting. But the little town, they have lots of great restaurant options, lots of things to do. They have a great masseuse there. So I highly recommend you get a massage there. The massages are really great. We went to the place that's right across from the cathedral, from the entrance of the cathedral that you go in when you go in for the mass. But they have great massages. Some places had horrible massages and it was a complete waste of money, but those massages there were really good. So when you're done with that Camino, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is get a massage. So I also wanted to talk about a couple of things that I thought were horrible experiences that I do recommend you avoid. So for one, there's this Michelin star restaurant in Fromista that we waited until 9 o'clock to eat there. And my friend had picked it out. If I had picked it out, I would have done some research on it, but I just thought, okay, it's a Michelin star. How bad can it be? Of course, it's going to be great. It's a Michelin star restaurant. This is a photo of what my plate looked like when it arrived. These are lamb chops that looks like I had finished done eating, but I had not. I had not touched these. This is what my plate looked like when it arrived at the table. So I could not have been more disappointed. Not to mention, as you can see, my side dish was French fries. And as much as I love French fries, a good French fry, I was so tired of eating French fries on the Camino, it wasn't even funny. So I was very disappointed to know that this is a Michelin star restaurant and I'm getting lamb chops that look like someone had just finished them. And I'm also getting French fries as my side dish, which I had had. So I don't recommend the Michelin star restaurant in Framista. Also, the halfway point, Sahagan, I do not recommend getting a massage there. As you enter that little town, you'll see this massage. They charge you American prices, and that would have been fine if it was an American massage or anything close to it. No, they charged us €75 for the massage, and they claimed that it was going to be the best massage we've ever had. It's full body massage. No, we got a massage on our back and they sent us on our way. Like that was the whole massage. And my friend and I were both kind of dumbfounded that that is what they called a massage and charged us full price. So now I just want to talk about the landmarks. Like I know people want to know what stages do I have to do to make sure I see these landmarks. So I just wanted to share those with you. So of course, the first major landmark, I don't know if you call it a landmark, but when you're doing the first day's hike from St. John Pied de Port to Orison, is to see the Pyrenees. The Pyrenees is definitely something to see. It's probably the hardest day's hike of the whole Camino. At least it's one of the top 3 for sure. But it's just the most beautiful land. So I'm gonna call that a landmark, which is the Pyrenees from St. John Pied de Port to Orison. The second landmark that everyone wants to see is the wine fountain, which is going from Estella to Los Arcos. So when you leave Estella in the morning, it's going to be early. So if you get there too early, they may not have the wine fountain working yet. So just be mindful of that, because I think they don't start it until 9 a.m. or something. But if you want to see the wine fountain, you got to make sure you do that stretch between Estella and Los Arcos. The next stage that you want to make sure you do if you want to see one of the great landmarks, which is, you've seen those metal statues of the pilgrims. So if you want to see the metal statues of the pilgrims, that is the stage when you've left Pamplona and you're walking to Puente la Reina. And it's called the Alto del Perdón. That is the stage you want to make sure you do. And it is worth a see, but let me tell you, again, it's a hike getting up there. So they're going to make you pay to see those statues. And I mean pay from a physical perspective, because it is quite a hike to get up there to see those statues. But it's fun to get up there. It's beautiful. You get to take pictures, and I highly recommend you stop by to see the metal statues and take pictures. So the next stage that you don't want to miss if you're interested in seeing the major landmarks is Villar de Mazarif to Astorga. If you want to see the most amazing bridge you've ever seen in your life, is Hospital de Orbigo Bridge. But the actual stage is usually identified as stage 22. And of course, that depends on what book you're looking at. But the bridge is the most incredible bridge I have ever seen. It's it was a sight to see. I really, really enjoyed and appreciated being able to see that bridge. The next major landmark is the Cruz de Ferro. Now, bar none, the Cruz de Ferro, also known as the Iron Cross, is that landmark where everyone will take a rock from their home and leave it at the foot of that cross. and it's supposed to represent for whatever reason you're walking the Camino. So some people walk the Camino because they're trying to get over heartbreak or a divorce or someone's death or the loss of a loved one. Whatever your reason is, they take a rock from their home to symbolize. So you're basically carrying this rock around for weeks at a time until you get to the Cruz de Ferro. And then you leave your rock at the base of this cross. Now, it was a very emotional day for me because, again, to get up to that cross, you have to hike. So they make you walk and climb to get to the top of that rock, which is, I imagine, part of the journey and the experience. Like, you really got to want it to be able to shed whatever it is you're trying to leave behind or whatever you're trying to get clarity on. Like, maybe it's the next stage in your life, trying to figure out what you want to do. But you have to hike to get there, and it is quite the climb. So that is the second big climb day after the first one, which was the Pyrenees. And then the second one is the day that you go up to the Cruz de Ferro. So it's stage 23 between Astorga and Fontbardon. You do not want to miss that stage. The emotions that came over me during that stage, I will never forget. So it was special. The last stage you don't want to miss, although I have to say, while I was climbing this mountain, I often said I wish I could have taken a taxi, but of course I couldn't. But if I had seen a taxi, I probably would have caught a taxi that day. I just felt like I was climbing forever. But it's the Osobrero. And so it truly is your last and final climb. Like, your last big climb was going up Osobrero. But there are certain parts that were pretty narrow and pretty close to the edge. So you do want to be careful and watch where you're going. And it's quite the climb. And I know that you can rent horses on this part, but I think you have to let them know 2 weeks in advance or something. You just have to reserve it. I guess it depends on what time of year you're going to decide if in fact that is something that if you want to rent the horses, then you just have to make sure you do that with plenty of time. So that's it for this video. I hope it helped you. Don't let it sway you in your decision. I'm just sharing with you my opinion. It may differ from everyone else's, but for me, I wanted to know where those landmarks, what those landmark stages were and what cities were most enjoyable. And no one actually, I couldn't find that information. So that's why I decided to do this video. So I hope you find it helpful. And I hope you enjoy your Camino. It's one of the best experiences I have ever had in my life. And even though you may feel like by day 3, like, why did I do this? Oh my God, I can't do this. You can do it. You will do it. You will eventually get to the end and you will feel so victorious when you do. So go out there, have a good time, and buen camino.